So my wife has been a fan of Creed fragrances for a long time. Not just on me, but she loves to wear Creed fragrances as well. Everything from Aqua Fiorentina, which I purchased for her. I've also purchased for her a couple bottles of Aventus for her, which she has worn to work and special occasions and all that stuff. So I brought this home one day, hoping to review it. And she got wind of the fact that it was a woman's release. She smelled it. She immediately fell in love with it. She goes, "This is mine. You're not taking this. You're not bringing it to your studio." So it has a permanent spot in her dresser. And so this is the brand new fragrance from the House of Creed. It's called Wind Flowers, a fragrance that is inspired by movement. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on it, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Wind Flowers by Creed, and I let you know all about this fragrance, what it smells like, performance, if I could compare it to anything else, what notes in this ingredient or ingredients in this perfume really stand out to me, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's review. So again, 2022 release. This is a brand new fragrance by Creed. It's called Wind Flowers, and it's a fragrance that is inspired by movement. And so every once in a while, you'll see Creed release a new flagship fragrance, either for men or women. And of course, the most recent one, I think it was probably Viking Cologne, which I also own, and I purchased so many Creed fragrances throughout the years. I've given them so much of my hard-earned money, but I do love so many of their fragrances. I've been wearing a Rolfa to work. I've been wearing Green Irish Tweed to work. Aventus is, of course, one I've been wearing to work for many, many years, since like 2011 or 12. So here is a fragrance that is quite floral, as if the name didn't give it away. So you have orange blossom, you have iris, you have jasmine, you have also sandalwood from India. You also have tuberose in here, which is a really nice pairing to the iris. And then you have these bright floral nuances with this musky peach thing happening in there as well. So I'm going to be getting into a little bit more detail regarding the smell, but let's start things off with the presentation. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you have this really lush and bright and vivid and quite beautiful floral bouquet. And it's that opening smell that really enchants you. And I think that's one of the reasons why my wife loves this so much, and why I love to smell this one on my wife as well. And I have a comment regarding the longevity, but I'm going to save it for later. So it opens up with this really bright, well ornamented and vivid flower bouquet. So you have this musky floral tonality about the fragrance. You have jasmine, you have iris, you have tuberose, and you have rose centifolia. So you have this sort of amalgam of all of these floral and flowery ingredients. And at times I have a hard time really detecting which one I'm picking up on. So I feel like I get a lot of that jasmine because it's very clean and pure, elegant. It's kind of innocent leaning, but it also has a level of sophistication about it. So it has this really interesting duality of personality about it, if you will. But you also have this musky peach thing that's happening in here. And so there's something about the fragrance, I guess it's the musk, that kind of gave a bit of an abstract quality in the opening. And it's something that for a split second reminded me of Silver Mountain Water. Now, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that this is like the women's version of that. It's not. Very different fragrance, has its own unique personality, but before looking at the note breakdown, I was of the impression that this contains some kind of tea. like whether it be white tea or green tea. I really wasn't sure because it has this musky tea kind of a vibe in here, which is very, very nice. Now, you do get some other ingredients that have been used in previous Creed fragrances. For example, you're going to get iris, which is also used in green Irish tweed, and jasmine has been used in many Creed fragrances, especially on the women's side of things. The jasmine is very natural smelling. The peach is just enough of it happening in the fragrance where it doesn't kind of overtake the composition with its ripe and fruity personality. It's a really nice accent to that floral bouquet. So really in the front of the fragrance, you're going to get the flowers where I think, you know, jasmine is probably the most rife, and then you have probably an even balance of the tuberose and the rose, and then you have iris all the way in the back. And the reason I say that is because in my experience, whenever you combine iris, especially with tuberose, you have a fragrance or a smell that comes across smelling like lipstick or a cosmetic bag, and I'm really not getting that. I'm getting a lot of jasmine in the opening, perhaps even a little indolic as well, so that gives, you know, or amplifies the natural smell of the fragrance, and the musky component adds a little bit of that clean yet slightly abstract quality to the fragrance. Now, as far as the dry down is concerned, you have sandalwood from India, and as I smell this, there's something lingering in the base, and you can kind of pick up on like this smooth component. I often describe sandalwood as having like a creamy sweet smell, and I don't get anything sweet from this fragrance, and I don't get anything creamy per se, but it does smell smooth. And so I would go as far as saying that I think the sandalwood is doing that to this fragrance. So very elegant, it's youthful, but it's also professional and incredibly versatile. It's funny because I had gotten home from work a couple days ago, and I was sitting down and I was eating my lunch, and my wife comes up to me and, you know, just to kiss me because she just came home from work. And as she leaned in, I smelled her and I was like, "Are you wearing the Creed?" She goes, "Yeah." And I kid you not, it smelled like she had just applied it a half hour prior or something like that. And she sprayed it on at like 6:30 in the morning when she was getting ready for work. So the longevity of this fragrance is really, really good. Also happens to be good on me as well. I've actually worn this fragrance for several days consecutively. No, you know, disregard the fact that it's marketed for women or whatever. I love the way that this one smells. I love musk. I love jasmine. Orange blossom is in there too, but again, it's not, you know, a strong ingredient in this. It just kind of enhances the personality of that floral bouquet, but in no way, shape, or form is it one of the main players in the fragrance. I think this is a beautiful fragrance. There's something about Aqua Fiorentina that I really, really love. It is my favorite, and perhaps I've grown attached to it because my wife was wearing it on our wedding day. And so this one, I'm gonna have to grow some memories with it, which I'm sure is going to happen in time, but it's a beautiful fragrance by Creed. If you haven't tried it, please try it. It's a brand new release, marketed for women, in my opinion, totally unisex, because it's mostly jasmine, musk, and then you also have a little bit of like this tuberose and iris combination in there as well. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I know I made a very slight comparison to Silver Mountain Water, but believe me, this one is totally different. In terms of a fruity floral fragrance, there's a lot of floral, a little bit of fruit, very unique, and the overall smell is incredibly pleasant and incredibly versatile. It's mass appealing and it will get you compliments. In terms of the longevity on this one, you know, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 hours. I was able to smell it on my wife when she got home. Every time I wore it, it lasted minimum 9 hours, but I also applied quite heavily on my clothing, and that seems to linger as well. And so the longevity on this one is above average, in my opinion. The projection on this one is really good for the first hour to hour and a half of application. It didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about that 6 to 7 hour mark, and right around that 8 or 9 hour mark is where it completely disappears. But very impressive performance from this, given the fact that it is a predominantly floral perfume. Versatility on this one, hotter weather, I think is going to be great. Because of how professional it smells, I think you can wear this all year long as you're wearing it in a climate-controlled environment. It's a very mass appealing and very friendly fragrance, so I can see anybody of any age wearing this one, and I would say this one is probably about 65% feminine and the remainder masculine, but I think all fragrances are unisex, so I have personally really enjoyed wearing this fragrance. fragrance, and it just comes across smelling rather clean with the jasmine and the musk. And so it's a very friendly fragrance, one that I really enjoy, very elegant and sophisticated as well. And I think it does have a bit of a formal vibe to it because of how natural the flowers smell. But of course, if you like the way that it smells, go ahead and wear it casually too. There's nothing about it that screams, you know, really rich and opulent. It's one of those fragrances that is very accessible. You can wear it dressed up or dressed down. The presentation on this one is great as well. Great Creed quality atomizer. The performance is really nice, very classy as well. My final verdict on this fragrance is, if you are looking for a floral fragrance, if you like rose, if you like iris, if you like tuberose, especially jasmine, you're looking for something that is very bright, warm, friendly, but also very youthful and elegant smelling at the same time, check out Windflowers by Creed. I think it's a solid release for the year 2022 and a great addition to the Creed catalog. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time and your viewership. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Go ahead and hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos on my channel. And give this video a thumbs up if you took something of value from today's review. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.